I think so. I think drifting had a lot to do with my vaping. I'm Lance Kirianoff, but to most drifters, I'm Potatoes O'Brien. Drifting, to me, is all about going beyond the limits of your car and finding the most fun way around the track. So I was really big into anime when I started college. Everybody was into this cartoon called Initial D. It was a good story, but drifting just immediately piqued my interest. And within a few episodes, I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I got my car in the summer of 2001, and my first event was March 2002. When I got my first sponsorship, he agreed to paint the car, get it into show condition. I had been dreaming about painting my car pink for a while, and I got to paint my own graphics. So I chose a rabbit for each side, one surrounded by flowers, on the other side completely disemboweled. And I spent weeks doing an intricate mess of intestines just spilling out behind the rabbit. As I was finishing up my pink paint job, it turned out my friend Mitch Boyer at Namco was working on the Fast and Furious video game. He contacted me, asked if I wanted to be featured in it, and of course, that just seemed surreal. So my car ended up being the boss of the first drift mountain. Formula D is the first American professional drifting series. I only lasted a season in Formula D. I was a good driver, in my opinion, but I had no competition experience. One of the judges told me to come back with 50 more horsepower, so I did. I bought a used nitrous kit, and my car was completed the day before Irwindale, the final round. Unfortunately, during practice, the engine blew. It hadn't been properly tuned. That was the end of my pink Corolla. In about September or October 2007, I was invited to drive in China. This seemed like a dream come true. So I competed in 2 events, one in Beijing, one in Hangzhou, and had the time of my life. I had been driving my dad around a lot before I went to China. When I got back, I found out why. He had been diagnosed with a brain disease. All of a sudden, my focus wasn't on being a pro, wasn't on traveling the world. I just wanted more time with my dad. I spent as much time as I could with him, and I watched his condition degrade over about 5 or 6 years before he died. For the most part, my cars just sat. I would drive an SUV, follow the speed limit, never break traction, and I felt numb. I just hadn't thought about drifting until 2014, when my friends organized a throwback event called Drift Buffet, and I thought I needed to go and see if I could even drive again. I felt like I had been building up all of this emotion that would have otherwise been released by drifting, because drifting for me was a release. It was incredible, and I felt like I was home again. I hadn't felt like that for so many years, and it felt like at that point I could finally put it behind me. But when the day was over, I went back to the same feelings I had before. Grief took over, and I didn't see the track again for 3 more years. At this point, I'm both nervous and hopeful at the same time. I don't want my car to break. I want to be able to keep going. But I know it's a risk, and it's a risk worth taking. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to have a blast for as long as I can until my car gives out. Willow Springs is the second track I ever drove on. It's up in Rosamond, California, pretty close to Edwards Air Force Base, and they have at least 6 racetracks on the property. I'm here at Willow Springs at the Walt James Stadium Oval, and I'm going to try some drifting, see if I can't break something. Yesterday, I went out to Willow Springs Raceway, put on some new tires, got out on the track, and it was going well. I was only able to complete the course in my stock Corolla once or twice, and it took everything I had. But with this engine, I had no problem. I had more than enough power and had a blast. But I kind of lost sight of what I was there to do. I broke my exhaust in the back and ended up having to drag my exhaust off the track. Unfortunately, the car wouldn't start after it had been shut down, and the day was pretty much done. So to get the car out, we had to basically just strap my car's bumper to the tow hook of a Nissan Rogue. And my friends pulled me out of the track at a low speed out onto the street so that I could lie to AAA and tell them that my car had broken down just driving down Rosamond Boulevard. The tow truck driver came and he wanted to try something because he hoped he could get my car running, making it easier to get it on the flatbed. So he gets under my car with a wrench and just started banging on the underside of my fuel tank. Turned out my fuel filter was clogged, and all it needed was 4 or 5 good hits to knock the sediment and dirt off. I was relieved, but also very disappointed, because all we had to do was bang on the fuel tank, and I could have been on the track for the rest of the day, drifting my heart out. It was kind of funny, but mostly just disappointing. The highlight of my day, beyond being able to drift again, was running into my old mentor and friend Taka Aono. He was there to provide support for another old friend of mine, Hiro Sumida, as he raced on the track behind us. So we got to have a warm reunion, catch up a bit. It had been over a year since I saw him last. We got to talk about cars, which we both love to do, talk about our futures. He gave me a lot of good advice.
ドリフトやめた方がいいよ。ろくなもんじゃないよ、もう。ドリフトやめますか、それとも人生やめますかっていうこともありますけど。Try to translate, okay?
Telling me to avoid pursuing professional drifting again. He's probably right. If it happens for me, great, I'll love it. But my priority really is to just be on the track and be able to drive with Taka again and all of my other friends. I felt the drive that I had when I was younger, and I don't think it's going to go away. So I think my plan is just to keep doing as many events as I can and keep looking forward to the future. I love driving with my friends, and the Pro-Am circuits seem like a great way to do it. Even if I'm not winning, even if I'm not advancing, I really just want to be there again. I don't think I'm going to stop.